keeps me awake at night. I can't get sleep either.
I'm very energy filled. I like energies and things. I was like, you know what? It's a way of life. So hippie, that's me. Soul, and I spell it SOLE because the bottom of your foot. It's my wall. It's how I live.
Awesome.
You know, I try to be peaceful.
Give me some.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Don't hippies smoke marijuana?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I plead the fifth.
He left you out there all by yourself. You were on that land.
I am not nowhere. I'm not. I plead the fifth. Is it too late?
Yeah, it's too late. She all looked at me and said, "Yep." You all confident?
No, I just figured because you called yourself a hippie.
Well, you know,
if we were in a state where
it was legal,
marijuana
was illegal, would I? Yeah, of course, because there's plenty medicinal reasons behind that as well.
Because you got glaucoma.
That too. But it's been known to kill cancer and all things
and
like
anxiety.
that. And anxiety.
It cures cancer.
Yeah, it's been known to kill cancer cells. You know what I mean? I've done my research on it.
Because you know,
gout.
Gout. You know.
Look, no, and also with the cancer, it lowers your stress level so that when you're on your medications or whatever, that it's like one of those drugs that you can take that's not going to conflict with other drugs,
right?
Like in a detrimental way.
So you don't mix it with crack then. If you put the
anything about that.
Participate in that.
He said we do got
we got a lot. We not there.
Nothing about that, but marijuana, harmless.
So it should be legal, all 50 states, that kind of thing. And
it should be legal.
Okay, so do you think that marijuana should be legal in the state of North Carolina?
Absolutely.
Alcohol is legal.
The only reason it isn't legal is because they don't know how to tax it. They want to make money off of it. That's it.
They're just trying to see how it moves right now before they put their own price on it.
Exactly. And there's going to be a CBD
They're the
store
ones
on
who
Central
selling it.
Avenue.
They're just not saying it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's like, why not?
Right next to the ABC store.
CBD next to the ABC.
They're the ones.
And look, and then Dunkin' Donuts because you're going to have to munch it.
Exactly. You got to put one right there.
Right?
Now, that's
Central
strategic.
is set.
Yeah, it is.
Central is hippie central. Like literally, I can get off when I was in college. I could get on the bus, get off at the top of Central, and just enjoy my whole day making my way down Central Avenue. Smoke shops, thrift shops, barber shops, everything. Like, you know, not barber shops. They had some doobie shops, but it's so artsy. I love it. Like Noda.
It's expensive.
It's a
lot.
Bars. It's good for bar hopping. We'll say that.
Yeah.
They got some nice.
So, don't you think it would be cool if they had, with the hookah lounges? They're all around the city. If they had a hookah lounge with marijuana use inside, you think that'd be cool?
I mean,
sorry for the wait.
Sorry for the wait. Yeah, pretty much.
I know they got
them in California. I think North Carolina needs something different here.
Well, North Carolina needs a cultural readjustment. That's what North Carolina needs. But,
cultural readjustment, how?
In every way possible. I think the South period is kind of behind in, how can I say this, contemporary things. We're really Bible-based, and there's nothing wrong with being Bible-based, but, it's behind on a lot of things that have to do with progressive people, as far as the views on black people.
Yeah.
And
but then should you not go to those places that accept those particular viewpoints? So if you want progressiveness, go to a progressive state.
But
if
I
you
love
want
North Carolina, so that's why I'm here.
laid backness, then you go to a laid back state. If you want everything that's up on technology, then you go to
China.
No.
Japan.
But
Japan.
That's
a different.
Charlotte. I believe in Charlotte. That's why I'm still here.
But if Charlotte doesn't mirror what it is that you're looking for, there are other states out there that will help accommodate that.
Right.
I feel this.
It's not the only.
I love Charlotte.
Right. He's not the only one that's there like that. But I think there's progression, just not in a broad scope, is what you're talking about. There are pockets of progression. Because
of the eclecticness of the people that come to Charlotte. But
exactly.
I specifically moved to the South to get away from the rat race of the North. So if the South, the Bible Belt, had the same thing that up north had, then I might as well stay up north.
Right.
So I came here because of the slowness. I came here because of the hospitality. I came here because they weren't up on everything. So I wanted a slower pace.
Right.
I mean, I like the pace. It just needs a different dynamic and culture. That's all I'm saying.
Whereas
but
a year ago on the bus, a white man still moved away from me when I sat down by him.
But that's going to happen to you. It doesn't matter what state you go
I
to.
mean, but people, when I
You could have forgot your deodorant that day. Could have been. You know.
He looked at me like, don't sit right here. But there was no other seat on the bus because I was on the light rail. There was no other seat on the light rail. And literally, like, he
wanted you to stand up.
Sat
That's
down.
what
He stood up and, like, just held on to the rail. There were no other seats. Like,
But you're going to get that. It really doesn't matter about here. You'll get that anywhere that you go. And like I said, we're talking about pockets of progression. It's just go to those areas and actually develop it in there. I think that the diverse cultures that we have, this is the safest way to experience life because I know racist people, but I can go home or I could come here or I could go so like I'm not in a racist state as a whole, but I still need to be educated on their new because they're trending. You know, they're doing something new. You know, they're constantly evolving in racism in ways that I didn't know of. Well, I don't want to move to Alabama to find out what that is, so I'll just stay right here.
Right.
And I've got a little touch of that so that I experience it. Then, you know, my Asian, I have a great Indian, you know, community. To be with them and to just experience their culture and their lifestyle. Well, guess what? I didn't have to go all the way to India to experience it because they're always doing something. So I get the taste of Bollywood in a very safe environment right here. I think we're a melting pot and we're a blend. And to require any state or suggest that any state should fall into a complete place of normalcy. Take Miami, for example. Everybody retire, what they do? They move to Florida.
Right.
But at the same time, you go to Jacksonville, Florida, and that's a
It's
whole
different.
nother.
Right.
And then you can
That's
go
a
to
different
Tampa,
Florida.
Florida. That's an entirely different. And then you can go to Key West, and even that's different. So to be able to have that multifaceted blend is great. But I agree that the pocket of progression needs to expand.
Right.
Doesn't all need to change, but it
Yeah,
definitely does.
I love my city.
Because I need everybody money, not just progressive dollars.
Yeah.
I need the old trust funds. I need the old timey dollars. I need the ones that just stay under mattresses, you know, and in dusters and in them big mama's purse, like whatever, wherever it comes from, right? And a Folgers can. Your money smell like coffee. I need them dollars.
I need that.
I need that too.
But okay, so you said you're from Minneapolis, right?
Right.
So I've never been there. I don't know if they have either.
I have.
You have? Okay, so maybe you can answer
that
too.
need progression.
But
Yeah.
what is it like living there, dealing with, you know, what's going on and within racism communities, and then coming here and seeing a difference? What separates?
Well, when I left Minneapolis, I want to say 8 years old. But since then, I've been like back every summer, and the racism up there is more hidden. I'll say it that way. Like, you know that there's tension between white and black people, but since they've been, you know, I guess mixed together so long, it's more of a, you know,
You stay
we have
over
an
there,
understanding
yeah.
that we're not just going
Go over, yeah.
to mess with each other. You know, I forgot we had to keep it rated G.
Yeah.
You can't mess with each other.
Yeah.
And it's compared to down south where, you know, if somebody white sees you, they're going to make it known that, okay, yeah, you're black. I'm not finna mess with you. Don't even look my way. I'll call the police.
Yeah.
That's just how I do
That
it.
was the difference for me too, because I'm from upstate New York, and upstate New York, you got your separatives. Like my town where I live specifically, the bottom part of the town live down here. Then you got your middle class.
Stop moving my
Oh, yeah, then you got your middle class, and then you got your upper class. So you know those the three that was separated. But as far as coming down here, I think racism, it's more open in the South. Like in New York, if somebody felt some type of way about you, they'll give you a look. Like they'll give you a look but won't say nothing. Down here, you'll get that
They'll say
look
something.
and they'll say something. So I think that's something I had
Doing
to.
action too.
Yeah, that's something I had to, like when I first came down here and I was getting jobs down here and I was out in the field, you know, going to up by the lake and down South Carolina and stuff. I had to meet all different types of people, and not everybody's racist. Like I've met the coolest country people, like, you know, who are down to earth people, and then you got your people. I think racism is more of a not your color or this, that, and the third. I think it's more so what's taught, and it's an idea of racism. You know what I'm
And
saying?
it's like, I'm at a forward belief that everybody's racist. I don't care. People are like, well, you know, black people can't be racist because, we don't control where we can live, how much money we make. Okay, yeah, that's true. We don't have control over that. Racism to me is a misunderstanding of what my culture is. That's racism. We can be racist towards white people, because I know I can't. Oh, all white people racist. That's not true.
That was
That's
a racist statement.
Yeah, that's a
right
racist
there,
statement.
right?
Because it's just like, how do I say this? Racism, I believe, was put in place for a bigger agenda. While we're fighting over, you don't like me because of my skin color, or you don't like me because whatever. You know what I mean? There's a bigger agenda at hand, and we just don't see it because we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves.
Right.
But that's just my belief.
No. It all ties back
Racism
to...
is real. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely real, but it's just set in place for us to be distracted.
It ties back to the dollar, though. So racism
The
is an
mighty dollar.
economic thing.
Absolutely.
So if you can control the dollars, then basically you can control certain sects of people. Just like if you can control land based upon gentrification and where people live, you'll have
Absolutely.
people put people in certain neighborhoods, in certain communities in order to keep separatism and things of that nature.
Technically, though, like I want to use a story, because I'm a big sports fan, and LeBron is my favorite athlete, and he recently moved to LA, to join the Lakers. But last year, when he was going at it back and forth with the president, somebody vandalized his house in Los Angeles and wrote, the N-word all over and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that's LeBron James. That's not me or you living, in a basic community. This is a top-notch community in Calabasas, California. So that goes to show you that your dollars don't stop racism. Like, just because you got money, that doesn't put you in a different bracket than anybody else. You're still viewed. Yeah. It's about how you see. It's just about how you see people.
In high school, I had a white guy friend. He was so into me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you're cool. I go to hang out. We live in the same neighborhood." He's like, "Oh yeah, you can come in my house, but just don't feel weird." And I go in there and I see the Confederate flag, and I ain't think nothing of it. And I see,
And some white hoodies. And
he is going. Yeah. Hold on, wait. So he went to West Charlotte.
No, I went to West Charlotte and North Meg, but he was telling me, I want you to know that, but I think that he hadn't had any black friends because
around,
he was scared that they were going to be like,
rightfully so.
But
yeah, because birds of a feather flock
together. That is true.
Fruit
That
don't
is true.
fall
That
too
is
far.
Yeah, that's true. One of my closest.
That right there was a hint and a half.
Right.
When somebody has to prep you and warn you, you know that's going to be something that's going to be disastrous.
What you should give him to do? Not come in. Goodbye.
Nah, yeah, that is true. That
I
definitely
did
is.
leave pretty fast.
When you saw that cross burning.
Yeah. No, I ain't see that.
Yes.
No, but really, I don't know. I'm far from racist. But I'm not blind.
You know,
either.
racist people say that too. You know that.
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
so unbiased.
So let me ask you guys this: do you guys believe in black racism?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you do, and you do too.
Black racism, as in
Light skin, dark
No.
skin. That right
Listen.
there is
Listen.
racism.
I already know
Yeah.
between dark skin and light skin, we
like
we
black
go
and
at
white.
it. We go at it amongst ourselves, which is sad.
I'll be
But
sure.
yeah. See, I get that all the time. Okay, look at this light skin wannabe. I get that. Yeah.
Hot yellow.
Yeah, hot yellow. I hated that growing up. Hot yellow. I swear.
But
But we're not talking.
because
But we're
of
not
your
even
hair.
talking about
That's what I was
complexion.
just having
Color
a
your hair
discussion
high yellow.
yesterday.
Yeah, I guess that's blonde. But yeah. So all right. So use this. I'm gonna use this for example because I wondered if black people could be racist growing up. And my aunt, she lives down here. She moved from upstate New York, and she came down and got a great job, became a banker. She shedded a lot of friends, her community, people like that, and upped her class, and which is respectable. She got a nice house, almost $1 million worth of house, and her class of friends has changed now. So she, when I would come down, she had a neighbor that was a white girl, and that was her friend. That she was friends with the girl's mom, but when I would, try and become friends with the girl, it wasn't, you can't be friends with her. And I never understood why. As I got older, you're not dating any white girls. All right, this is the conversations over the phone, because I had a lot of girls in and out of my life, but she always had a problem when I dated white girls, and I never understood. And I'm like, okay, I understand, that a white person being mad at me for dating their daughter, but for you to be telling me, like, I can't, and then I'm like, okay, and then I had to tell my mom about it. My mom was like, your aunt's, like, she's, like, a racist black person. I'm just like, she said it sarcastically, but I'm like, is that real? And then as I grew up and I realized that actually is real, like, it's crazy.
It was just a white person thing. I never thought of racism as racism. I was, man, Indian kids getting picked on because they smell different. Like,
because they smell different.
I done seen it all. I heard it all.
Listen, that is a different topic. That's a different. Listen, I believe in everything. That's one thing. That's one thing I cannot. I can't just Subway. I do not need to smell Subway 8 o'clock in the morning.
So should the races stay amongst the races? Black people date black people, white people date white people, Indian people date.
That's not even.
Listen. Segregation,
anymore.
when that came about and ended, that ended all the barriers for that.
Absolutely.
Color. What was the movie Wesley Snipes did? The where he dated the white girl. You know the movie I'm talking about? Jungle Fever. Perfect example. Like that was the after maybe 20 years. That was the 80s. So 20 years after the 60s and 50s revolution and stuff, and that was still, you know what I mean? But it was fresh, it was new, and now if you look now, how many light-skinned kids, mixed breed kids do you see now versus back then? So many.
Right.
Like, listen, like my friends.
It's gonna be like mostly light-skinned people, and like seeing just a regular tone person is gonna.
That's what we're gonna go to.
It's only here. Now I'm not gonna say I have an issue with interracial dating, but when you think about us being killed for even looking at a white person, or even like,
or our black women being raped by the white man.
Exactly. It's like, for one, why wouldn't you want to date in your race? Most people who date out of their race can't tell you why they date out of their race.
It's forgiven.
Let me tell you, my ex-husband, native roots. He was from Norway. His parents were from Minnesota. They were in Minnesota, so you betcha. We met in Germany. Because of my military upbringing, I am multicultural. I am international. I remember one time I would babysit, and this guy came over to the house, and he asked my mom. He was like, she was like, "Hey Murphy, what's going on?" He was like, I want to know if Amber can babysit. She's like, "Amber?" He was like, "Yeah, your daughter." She said, "I don't have a daughter." Like, she just thought, he just didn't know which one of our names. It was a plethora of us. When she said, "No, none of my girls named Amber," he said, "Yeah, the black white one." Literally, that was me. My nickname is Amber because I did everything that we typically did not do. And he came when he was standing there. So my sister was dating a Puerto Rican, my brother was dating an Italian, I was dating a Mexican. But our house was the UN. It was United Nations all around.
I could see.
And literally to come and see, all we needed was a treaty because we were all in there.
Yeah.
But when I got ready to marry my husband, I was like, did you tell your parents, about us? He's like, yeah. And he said, well, I was like, I had a conversation going. He said, well, I told him I met somebody and I was getting married. And they was like, oh yeah, that's so good, sweetie Petey. I'm so happy for you. And I said, yeah, she's black. They said, oh, well, that's a shocker. But literally, when I tell you, they loved me to smithereens and back my entire family. Like, it was amazing. And even going to Minnesota, being in Germany, it was never uncommon to see interracial relationships. They didn't look at us like we were crazy. They didn't look at us sideways. They didn't, even the older ones, racism for Americans is taught. I do not harbor any ill will towards anybody. One, I was never a slave. Two, if I know you, you were never a slave master, because that is beyond then. Now, where our differences come in is what your ancestors taught you and what's been bred into you. At the same time, we are often at fault for encouraging racism. With the lyrics in our music, with our mannerism and our behaviors. Sometimes I understand being hood and, being true to your roots, but if they say that you're not anything and this is what anything, the lack of looks like, your pants all around your ankles and this, that, whatever. If that is how they've defined it, why continuously entice it and promote it and call each other out your name and use the N-word and treat women and say and whatever? You're promoting and encouraging, giving them reason to say, well, that's why we said all them is a bunch of, and so on and so forth. But I don't see it that way. I have someone in my life now, and he's an African American, and literally, when I walked, the first time I introduced him to my family, my mom was like, "Get out the way, somebody trying to come in." And I'm like, "No, he's with me." And everybody was like, "Do you know he's black?" I was like, yeah. So he's my
that's
Obama.
being
He's
smart.
my
Okay,
Obamacare.
okay,
Because
okay.
he literally is the first one since the first one. I saw somebody once, and he was sitting in the living room. My mom was like, "You waiting on my son?" He was like, "No, ma'am, I'm waiting on your daughter." She was like, "Which one?" He said, "Kim." She said, "Don't get comfortable." Literally, because it wasn't. But I'm just multicultural.
Do you believe in the preservation of race?
It will always be. It'll never. We're not extinct. We're not at risk of losing our black roots and our black culture, nor the white roots or white culture or the Hispanics, or every race will continue to live on no matter how you mix and breed it. It's always going to be in existence. That's the way
that technically
You
can't
said
though, because
that
if we
they-
cross, I'm sorry, yeah, but if we cross everything, how can it remain the same, right?
Not everybody has crossed.
I got
Go ahead,
something
go
to say.
ahead.
Now, you said that racism is a learned behavior, and I it's kind of like I can't fully agree because I have family who my aunt is. I don't care. It is what it is. My aunt is black. My uncle is white, and I've never thought of him when I was a kid. I never thought of him as racist or I never thought he treated me weird or anything like that.
Right.
But literally, it's like the black culture itself. It turns him off. Like he doesn't. It's like a sneer to
But not the
everything.
people. It's a difference. I don't like some cultures, but the people don't bother me as well. Now, if he's treating you differently and he no longer wants to be with your aunt, then there's a racist portion in there.
You have people who tend to believe that some white men still have a certain type of attraction to black women because of their superiority, because of
He ain't
the
superior
power.
over me.
Baby, but that's not what they
I'm
believe.
every woman.
So I'm saying,
But-
you're saying that if a white man likes or thinks a black girl is beautiful, that it's because of
No. I'm not saying if a white man thinks that a black girl is beautiful, it's because of that superiority, that power, no. But it's been cases, I do believe, because it's been situations where I'm like, you hate everything about a black person, but you're with a black person. Like, I'm not understanding what's going on here.
Well, there's
To
a
where I
difference
have to
between.
waste
So does that
but there's
person
a difference
act
bet-
black?
Does they act black? The difference between being black and acting
the
black.
connection is they country. They both real country.
then that's a go.
He said that's a
Then that's
go.
a go.
Right.
It's
They
a go
found
right
a
there.
connection.
You got
point.
your listen.
And that
You
connection
right.
point
you got
grew
your
into love.
you got your country black folk that are South Carolina. I'm not gonna say South Carolina. I don't want to offend nobody, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's like those would be the ones that you can throw in that class of black racism, because if you brought them from out in their world and brought them to our world here, it's like. What's that? The loud music and
That's what he's
stuff like it's just
I don't like that rap.
Right, so it sounds like he fell in love with her, but he didn't fall in love with black culture.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
he has a misunderstanding of what black culture is. Black culture isn't necessarily, sagging our pants. That's not
And
black
loud
culture.
music.
That's
Right,
just something that
there's so
happened. I don't
much
know when
more.
it
But in
happened. Don't
my
blame it on me.
opinion,
But
she's submitting in a way that she shouldn't. In my opinion,
Right, she's
you should
conforming
have
to
more
him.
pride
Like-
for your culture.
You should, but you gotta understand. Some
passionate
people,
about that,
some
though.
people are themselves. So maybe she
Yeah.
walked into that and didn't want to be that ghetto, whatever, anything. Maybe she wanted to go in and be. Maybe she wanted to
didn't wanna
go
be
in.
you.
Maybe she wanted to go in and be a different
That's
person.
actually- like,
Because sometimes
that's your
listen.
problem.
Sometimes you have to do that. For example, like me.
The white
For
girl thing.
for example, how I would dress and act when I'm trying to get with a black girl is a different way I would try and act when I'm getting with a white girl. Like when I was younger.
Know your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wait, are you
See-
dating right now?
am I dating right now? Yes.
I'm
Black
just
or
trying to
white?
see
She's
if you're gonna tell on
both
yourself.
actually.
She both?
Yeah, she's both.
Are you both?
I'm not both.
I was
Okay.
I am.
about to
I'm
guess
a.
for
I'm
him.
a few things, but I'm not white. But so.
It's a few. It's in your lineage somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
No. I got like.
Yeah, it is.
I know it's like
don't
3%.
Exactly.
No, I know I'm definitely 3%
I'm not
like
saying
German,
it's not
which is
good to be
it's
proud of
off,
whoever
and
you are, whatever ethnicity you
yeah.
are. I'm just saying, don't spit on another just because.
They not.
Yeah.
But that started back in slavery with the house and the
Field.
field
Yeah. That's
person.
why I'm like,
So
president.
right there, they pit us against each other.
Right,
And
and
we
it's
weren't
right
supposed to be together.
we got to conduct ourselves
Hold
different.
that thought.
Okay.
We're going to go to break. We got to come back because the producer is jumping up and down and waving hands and doing backflips, and her skirt going to fly over her head.
Yeah,
I don't want that
no,
to happen.
let's not.
So We're going to go ahead and end this segment. You're tuned in to the Profit and Growth Hour on WDRB Media, the voice of the community.
I pose every time you say the voice of the community. I don't mean to. It's like, motto.